Hello, my fellow awakening souls. I hope you all have been well despite the state of the world. So, today I wanted to go over some book recommendations that I have that I recommend you guys read this year. Now, these books that I'm going to recommend, they're books that you're going to have to read over and over again until the principles, the lessons get ingrained in you. But I think I'm going to make this a series because over the last 2 years, there are a lot of different books that I would recommend and that are very important on our spiritual development and self-development journey. But we're just going to stick with 7 today, and I'm going to make this into a series, and every other week or whenever I feel like it, honestly, I'm going to make a video on some book recommendations. But let's start with these 6. Book number 1, which is The Kabbalion. What I can say about The Kabbalion is it teaches you ancient Egyptian principles, which I think we all need to get back to because we are being pushed to lose our principles and our morals. We're taught to have no type of, how would I put it, no shame, no principles to guide our lives upon, and we're engaging in depravity and all kind of low vibrational activities as a whole on this planet. And what I like about The Kabbalion is that even though The Kabbalion can seem like a very hard read, the more you begin to raise your vibration, your level of consciousness, and the more you read it over and over, the more you begin to understand what it is trying to relate to you with these principles, such as the law of correspondence, the principle of vibration, the explanation that it gives of what God is, or the all. And this is kind of one of the reasons why I started saying the all, because I really resonated with their explanation or description of the all. And we all may disagree in what we think the all is, but you resonate with whatever you resonate with. But it also goes into the principle of rhythm, the principle of gender, basically overall helping you find some grounding principles for your life, realizing that whatever you put out does come back to you. I really resonated with how it teaches you that if you are residing in a low vibrational way of thinking, if you continue to engage in low vibrational activities, you will never be a creator of your own reality. You will always be affected by other people's conscious creations. You will never be a creator. You will never be a cause. And what I like about this book is that it's teaching you to become a cause instead of an effect. While all creatures, all divine beings, all beings in general cannot escape the laws of the all, you can learn how to manipulate them in a way that it doesn't affect you negatively all of the time. You can rise above. You can be on a higher plane, ruling over the beings on the lower plane, because you understand how the principles work. You understand how the universe works. You know yourself. You understand that you have to act from a higher vibrational state of being in order to become a cause, in order to consciously create the life that you want to live instead of just being affected by other people's creations. And I really like that about this book. But there are a couple of other things that was really good as far as putting it into perspective of, I know a lot of us probably have the question at least once in our lives where we ask ourselves, what happens to a person that does bad deeds? Especially if you are a spiritual person, you're asking yourself, okay, if there is no hell, what happens to a person that does low vibrational or bad things? And this book kind of gave me a perspective on that, basically explaining in a way that when a person does bad things, they're going to receive their karma for that. The creator is going to have them start all the way from the beginning. They're going to have to start over in their cycle of life until they're able to spiritually grow, to evolve. There is no the end, lights out, nothing else. That's simply not life. That's simply not the universe. That's simply not a spirit's way of being. A spirit cannot die, which is something that is very hard to explain to other people. And a lot of us don't grasp that. Your physical body can decay and can die, but you are a spirit. You are a spiritual being having a human experience, and you may go on to another life and have a different kind of experience, but your spirit cannot die. You just move on to the next way of being. So simply put, when that spirit that's inhabiting that body did bad on this planet, that spirit will get sent back to the beginning to start over again, because the all gives you another chance to evolve, to spiritually grow, and you just would have to read the book to really fully grasp what I'm saying. But let's move on to the next book. So the next book that I would like to recommend is Ask and It's Given by Abraham Hicks, or Esther Hicks. I love her. Her energy. She's just so positive and inspiring. Her story inspired me. Like the same time that I was reading an introduction to Abraham, which is like one of the first few pages, I called David and I was like, I love this book. I was sitting at the park and I just started reading it and I was like, I love this book. I do. Basically, this book is giving you examples on how to manifest the reality that you desire, to manifest the things that you desire. It gives you practices and it gives you teachings. It helps you realize where you are lacking in your way of thinking. I really think this is a book that you should read over and over again, especially when life gets too overwhelming or you get to be too stressed out, because this will help you bring yourself back, center yourself, and realize that it all starts with you and that you are capable of creating a life that you desire. So for a lot of you who may not have heard of Abraham Hicks, basically Abraham is the being that Esther channels. Don't be scared. Don't be alarmed. When you begin to have your spiritual awakening, when you begin to evolve in your way of thinking, things like this is normal. You don't have to believe if the person is actually channeling, but take the principles from it. And that's what I always urge people. You don't have to like a person. You don't have to agree with their way of being. But if their principles align in a positive aspect, take the principles. Don't judge. Don't critique. It is what it is. So here is something that I really took away from this book. Nothing has to change in your environment or in the circumstances that surround you for you to begin to deliberately allowing your own connection to the stream of well-being. Basically telling you that you are always in a position to create a life that you desire, even if you are poor, even if you are starving, even if you are in an environment that is so low vibrational. You are a divine being, a part of the all. But until you realize this, until you truly believe this, until you truly tap into this and realize that your environment doesn't have anything to do with you manifesting the life that you want to live, you may not be able to attain it. It's telling you that your environment doesn't have any role on when you decide to begin taking accountability for manifesting your life and creating the life that you desire. You can be in prison, you can be diagnosed with a terminal illness, you can be in the most low vibrational city in the world, but it all begins with you. It doesn't matter what your outside world is looking like. What are you doing to change it? Have you even begun to change it? Something that I also took away from this book was, if it were not for resistant thoughts you have picked up along your physical trail that are not in vibrational alignment with the stream of well-being, you would be right now a full receiver of the stream, for you are a little extension of it. You and how you feel are all that is responsible for whether you let in your inheritance of well-being or not. Simply telling you that you are always connected to the all. You are always connected to God. But whether you understand this or not is up to you. Whether you use the abilities that you have been endowed with is up to you. This book has also helped me put it into perspective that if you're not manifesting certain things in your life, if certain things are happening, you have to remember to take a step back, gain some self-awareness, do some self-reflection, and figure out what is your emotional state of being. And once you begin to realize what your emotional state of being is in that moment, in this moment, you begin to realize where you are on the vibrational spectrum. If you are experiencing sadness, hate, or anger, you know that you're vibing at a low vibrational state of being. If you're experiencing happiness, joy, abundance. You are on a higher vibrational state of being. And if you are somewhere in the middle, I kind of like to think of it as if you're somewhere in the middle, you really have to do some deeper analysis of yourself. Because if you like, well, I feel nothing, you feel something, but you have to tap in deep enough. You have to tune in to figure out where it is you're actually on the vibrational scale, so you can know if you're attracting positive things or if you are attracting negative things and keeping the positive things away. Because of your resistance, because of your doubt, because of your negative thoughts, because of your negative habits, you are pushing all of the wonderful things that you could be attracting in your life away from you. Personally, from my own experience, I feel like the things that I've been going through lately, I still feel like I'm at I don't know, I think I'm in between a standstill, but I'm also seeing growth in my way of thinking, which will ultimately lead to growth in my outer being. So I've been focused lately on trying to produce results within myself first, and then having the expectations of seeing those things work out for me in this reality. Realize that all of the things that are happening to you right now aren't going to be happening forever, but you have to truly believe that. You have to overcome your mind. You have to gain control over your mind. Everything begins and ends with the mind. Until you have some control over that, it will be very hard for you to be a higher vibrational being. And for example, I'm going to level with you guys right now. The situation in the world, it scares me. But that's a low vibrational feeling, right? And one thing I personally have been working on is overcoming my fears about the state of the world. Not about my life personally, but about the state of the world and what other people may experience because of the decisions of those in positions of power. But when you begin to spiritually grow, when you realize who you are and what you are capable of, and know that this is not the end, you are able to overcome those feelings of fear. You are able to continue pushing for a better life for yourself and those around you. Until we all come together as a whole and make a global, massive, positive change, the world would never change. But what helps me is to not look at it as every single person doing the right thing, because that's probably impossible for how far we've fallen now. But just focusing on what you can do. Because I will always say this in every single video. When you begin to grow, when you begin to evolve, you inspire those around you, and they inspire those around them. And change happens as a collective, because we are creating a domino effect. So although the state of the world seems like it's in chaos, seems like everything is falling apart and everything is burning, you keep the hope. You keep the hope alive. Realize what content you're consuming. Who are you around? What is your way of thinking? Because you perpetuate that which you fixate your mind on. So if you're fixating your mind on negative thoughts, if you're surrounded by negative people, if you're allowing yourself to forget who you are, that you are a divine being, that you are a spirit having a human experience, you will allow yourself to succumb to that fear. You will allow yourself to succumb to those negative thoughts and continue perpetuating that reality for yourself, and thus spreading that energy to those around you, which creates ultimately negativity all over. So one thing that I'm personally working on is overcoming my fear. And another quote that has helped me with when I'm going through hard times that I took from Esther was, everything is constantly working out for me, no matter how things are hitting me at every point in time. And I say this to myself all the time, because we also have to realize we don't always know the how. Remember we talked about this. Amazing things happen all the time. So we have to realize, even though things may seem horrible, they may seem bad, sometimes we aren't aware of what's happening behind the scenes that is actually good, that is going to fix the problem that we are fixating our mind on. So don't fixate your mind on the problem. Come up with solutions. Focus on solutions. Focus on the positivity. Focus on knowing that everything is constantly working out for you, no matter how they look at any and every point in time. The next book that I want to recommend to you guys is Happier Than God. And I know the title may push a lot of you away from wanting to read this book because of the way it may sound. Like, how can you be happier than God? Like,
that's disrespectful or whatever you may be thinking, but pause for a second. Give it a chance, because this book is really one that I'm probably going to be reading again now. It's one of the first books I read when I began my spiritual awakening. And basically, this book is teaching you that you are a divine being. You are a spiritual master. That the all is already within you. God is already within you. It's not a being that you're looking for outside of yourself. In order to create happiness, in order to create abundance, in order to create success, you have to realize that all of those things are already within you. Everything that you will ever need, all of the answers that you are looking for, the Creator has already provided that for you. It's inside of yourself. You have to harness your power. If you want to be positive, if you want to be happy, you are already those things. But until you realize that, you will never experience it. And another lesson I learned from this book is that if you're not providing those things to other people, you will never experience that. So if you're looking for happiness, if you're looking for abundance, if you're looking for success, you have to be willing to provide that to your other fellow beings. Be kind to other people. Help other people grow, and to realize that that which you put out is that which you will receive. By giving those things to other people, you are in essence creating that energy to come back and turn to you. So when you are positive and kind to other people, that comes back around. When you give, even if you have little, but you still decide to give to someone in need, that comes back around. Whatever it is that you're seeking for within yourself, you have to also help somebody else find. And you can do that in a number of ways. You can do that in your own way. There's no one specific way to help another being. There's no one specific way to give back to the world, to give back to the beings that reside in our world. You just have to figure out what works for you and make the effort to do it, because that energy, that kindness that you're putting out there, that abundance that you're putting out there, that love that you're putting out there will return to you in tenfold. But unless you believe it, unless you act on it, it will never come to you. A lot of these things that we're wanting, the wealth, the success, the friends, the love, we already have all of those things. But it is due to our inability to perceive the power that resides in, and it's due to our inability to apply the lessons that we learn and use the power that we have inside ourselves to manifest those things into our immediate reality.
The next book that I want to recommend to you guys is A Happy Pocket Full of Money. To me, this may be controversial to some, but I'm not one of those spiritual people who believe that in order to be spiritual, you have to be poor because it's your birthright, or you aren't meant to have wealth. A few things that I took away from this book is that a lot of us have a negative way of thinking about money, especially depending on our different backgrounds and how we grew up. A lot of us probably heard the saying that money is the root of all evil. That is a way of thinking that a lot of us have to break away from if we want to experience financial abundance on this plane, because we have to realize that, first off, money isn't money, but that comes in another book. But money isn't the root of all evil. It is the person who is using the money, their intention, and what they're doing with the money. So you can be a wealthy person, a financially stable and wealthy person, and still be kind and still do good things. It is about what you do with the money, not the money in itself. And the same thing applies to all objects: crystals, sage, Palo Santo, different objects around the world. It is not the objects in themselves that make them bad or good. It is the being's use of that object in itself. So one of the things that you have to break in your mind is that money is not evil. Not all wealthy people are evil. And it is not bad for you to experience financial abundance in this plane. Another thing that is a major takeaway from this book is that a lot of us treat money like a drug. Well, honestly, money could be labeled a drug, technically, the way that we act with it. And what I mean by this is, you take somebody that's addicted to heroin, cocaine, weed, whatever, a substance. When that person has that substance, they're happy. Everything's well. They're in a good place. But when you take that away from them and they're going through withdrawals or they don't have it, they're experiencing sadness or they're experiencing anger. Happy when they have it, sad or angry when they don't. And we do this when it comes to money, when it comes to our financials. When we have money in the bank, receive that big check, or a big refund, whatever. Oh, we happy. Life is good. Life is well. But when our bank account is looking like zero, we stressed, we depressed, we doubting, we're angry, we're upset. It's like an addiction. And when you think of it from that perspective, because before I didn't think of it like that before I read this book, but it really helped me put things into perspective and it pushed me to be in a positive state of mind no matter what my financials is looking like. We have to be able to keep ourselves stable no matter what our financials is looking like. You cannot be addicted to the money. You have to have some type of trust. You have to have trust in the process, trust in the all, trust in yourself. You have to have a sense of knowing. It is your lack of belief in yourself and in the all that is keeping you where you are. When you begin to be happy, no matter what your financials is looking like, you begin to experience more financial abundance, or you begin to be able to pay your bills in various amount of ways. Things just work out. But until you are able to keep yourself in a place of positive thinking, no matter what your outer situation is looking like, you will keep experiencing fear, doubt, sadness, being broke, unhappy, worried, stressed, depressed. A lot of us that are awakening or a part of this woke culture, we have it in our minds that the government is just evil and bad, but not everybody that is in a position of power right now, evil or bad. And you also have to realize that some of us aren't ready for the type of information that the government is hiding from us. And some of us aren't ready to govern ourselves. I don't believe that the government is totally bad and we don't need it. And that's one thing that I like about this book. Because as it tells you, you have to get out of the cycle of blame. You have to stop blaming the government, the president. You have to stop blaming all of these people for things that are happening. And you have to figure out what you can do to take accountability for your life, what you can do to inspire positive change in the world around us. We have to come together as a collective to find solutions instead of focusing on blame, focusing on problems like we do all the time on the media. Oh, it's the president. None of that matters. Why are you pointing at the TV screaming? You look foolish. It is your inaction or it is your actions that you're taking that plays a role, because all of this is consent, whether you realize that totally or not. Ultimately, we have to realize and we have to take a step back and we have to realize, am I able to fully govern myself? Or are the people that are around me in my neighborhood, in my city, in my state able to govern themselves if we were to get rid of government? No, we are far from where we should be. We're not tuned in. We're not tapped in. We're not spiritually evolved. Not all of us, not enough of us. So we do need some type of laws, some type of structure. I do believe that the structure that we have now does need to be worked upon, does need to be tweaked and changed in certain ways to inspire betterment in our world, to make it more fair. But you still may disagree. But I'm just saying, look at it from that point of view. Everybody's not spiritually evolved. Everybody is not a good person. So therefore, you will have people out there that if we had no government doing whatever they wanted to do because there is no laws to hold the people that are doing these depravable things accountable. My next book recommendation will be I Will Teach You to Be Rich. I recommend this book because for a lot of us, we don't know where to start in taking responsibility for our finances. And I think this is the perfect beginner book. He also calls a lot of us out in our way of thinking, or a lot of you out in saying that you can't invest because you don't make enough to buy a pizza or you don't have enough money to do this and that. But all of that is bullshit. If you would just restructure your finances, if you would just keep a track of your accounts, if you would take the initiative to try to get a better job, land a higher paying position, do whatever it is you can to increase the cash flow that is coming inside of your home, and then wisely using that cash flow to invest into the correct places, you can become a wealthy person. Now, this book isn't really spiritual, but it does teach you about your 401k, the truth about credit unions and banks and credit cards. It teaches you about investments, stocks, bonds. It teaches you to keep track of your finances. How are you spending your money? Where are you spending your money? Most of us, we just swipe our debit cards all day long without paying attention to where our money is going. And then at the end of the week, we're waiting for another check 2 weeks later or a week later, trying to figure out where our money is going and penny pinching. When it comes to building wealth, you have to take extreme accountability for your finances. It is your responsibility to know where your money is going. It is your responsibility to create a future for yourself or for your family. So you need to be aware of where your cash flow is going and realize that ultimately spending your money every day for immediate satisfaction instead of holding out, instead of creating wealth so that you may actually retire at an earlier age, the longer you wait, the more that times change. So applying while you can now, start while you can now. I just believe that you should start making the decisions now to break down your finances, track your spending, track how you're saving, track what you're investing in, figure out how you can create wealth for yourself, because there are a number of ways, and this book aids in one of those ways. And last, but certainly not least, A Court of Thorns and Roses. You may be wondering, I'm trying to evolve spiritually and financially. Why would you recommend fiction? I recommend a fiction book because, well, I recommend this one for my girls because it's a really, really good series. I am on book 2, but I really enjoyed book 1. And what I like about fiction books is that when you're on a self development journey, when you have a spiritual awakening, when you're trying to create wealth, you take life a little bit too seriously. You kind of take things too seriously sometimes. And fiction books are a way to um, foster or feed your imagination and feed your creativity. So I would never say that you need to just focus on financial books, nonfiction books, serious books. Fiction's books are perfect to feed your creativity and your imagination. So don't put them down. It's okay to want to escape the world for a moment, or want, or better yet, not escape, but to go into another world for a moment, which fiction books help you do that. It helps you to create images in your mind, which is a very important skill when you are manifesting your reality. When you are meditating and you're having a manifestation meditation or a visualization meditation, you have to be able to focus on that which you are trying to envision to bring to your reality. So reading fiction books helps to foster that creativity and that imagination. Find you a good fiction read from time to time. When you read a serious book, switch to a fiction book. Take a break. Feed your imagination, feed your creativity. Ultimately, that helps you on your journey as well. Don't lose that. A lot of us get so caught up in life, get so caught up in the world and everything that's happening, that we forget to just enjoy the small things, enjoy the simple things. In a fiction book, it's so simple but so amazing. So thank you all so much for watching. That's all for me. Like I said, I will turn this into a series because there is so many books that I could recommend you guys. But I'm wishing you all peace, love, light, and healing. See you guys next week.